Okay. Hello guys, Sir Grindalot here with a quick grinding video and an update. The update is that I've been betrayed. Now, do you see this small purple frog crawling behind me? It used to be an ally, now it's basically an enemy. So, what happened is that, in case you missed my previous grinding video about the golden keys meta, what I was doing was I used to carry with me both the magic find and DPS gear, and in order to find as many golden keys as possible, I would clear the Forgotten Real dungeons with the DPS gear to do it quickly, and then equip my magic find gear right before fighting the Magister to increase the chances of finding a golden key, because I do believe that magic find increases the chances of finding a golden key. And what happened is that, for some reason, instead of opening my backpack, I opened the pet window. And what happens when you open the pet window is that if you double click on an item, you don't equip it, you sell it. As I just did with that thing. Now, there is a button that allows you to cancel the, let's say, transaction. But I didn't notice it. And this happened while I was in a Forgotten Real dungeon. So what I did is that I wanted to equip my grid and my demonic Xanidia. And instead of equipping them, I sold them to the pet for a bunch of gold. And I didn't notice it right at the time. I only noticed it when I started the following dungeon, because I was doing way too much damage than expected. I was like, oh, where is my gear? This was basically the sound that I emitted for 15 minutes after realizing what happened, and especially after realizing that there was no way back from that situation. So what I lost were the tier 6 grid infused in another tier 6, and the demonic guard infused with Xanidia, which was my 6 slot shield for farming. And in terms of items, it's not a huge loss for me, because I always have a ton of spares of every piece of equipment, usually for testing but also as backup. And in the bank I have 3 or 4 grids at tier 6, a handful of demonic guard tier 6 with decent trolls. The real bummer are the 10 gems, because those 2 pieces combined had the 10 divine Topaz gems, and that takes a bit of farming to recover. Right now I have enough to craft, I believe, 5 or almost 5, so I'm kinda halfway there, but it's still a big bummer. And in case you're wondering, Sir Grindalot, why is your character doing much less damage than usual? Well, because this is my warrior. It's a warrior that I just finished leveling it up and clearing all the old areas, and then bring it to the tower, the last floor of the Magician's Tower. And oh, double drop. Since I have great equipment for mage, I'm using it as a mage. It's a warrior mage. It uses exactly the same skill that I use on my mage. The same gear, I simply transferred it to this one. And of course the damage is very different. Very, very different. It's basically a 1/4. Mainly because of the Australian wheel, but also because having mage as a secondary class as a mage gives you a boost in damage and increases the skill level cap. But considering that what's the name of that skill? Magic Orbit hits for 1 billion and multi-missile hits for 4, that's still good enough to clear the Magician's Tower fairly quickly and efficiently. I still have to cast multi-missile if I want to go quickly. Otherwise, I need multiple hits of Magic Orbit, and that's a bit slower. But it's a fairly decent way of grinding. And I'm doing so with the Warrior because essentially the only item I'm really looking for is the bloody Astral Sword. As a Warrior, a skirmish, whatever, there is an increased chance of dropping it. So far, this Warrior has been fairly lucky with drops, both in terms of amount and what I found. I got another tier 6 Chaos Ring, my third one, which means I will eventually be able to test the crit build with Chaos Rings, which is essentially the one that I'm using right now on my mage as endgame gear, but instead of infusing Demon Bones on the Chaos Ring, it will infuse Dragon Slayers. I have 3 spare ones, so no worries, I can do it anytime I want. And I got... what else did I got? A bunch of Leonidas armors, which I'm not really familiar with the skirmish class, but stats-wise it looks pretty sweet. Helms of Command, I have plenty. I have a Queen of Blades. I got an Astral Guillotine, the one that basically executes mobs under 30% of health, but unfortunately it was tier 5. So, okay for testing, but waiting for the tier 6 of that. And other than that, yeah, I'm farming topazes because I need them. The Australian Wheel is a bit dodgy because now this is a Warrior skirmish. Oh, look, I will call it a Warrior, okay? I'm sorry, devs. You called the mage a mage, you called the archer an archer, and you called the Warrior a skirmish. No one wants a skirmish. This is a Warrior, okay? Let's call it a Warrior all the time, not just when the character is born, even in the endgame. What was I saying? Oh, the Australian Wheel. The Australian Wheel for my mage and my archer. I have an archer in the same situation as this Warrior. Looks essentially the same, and that's okay because everything on the archer is ranged, so no worries. But eventually I will play this class as a real melee class, which means if I heavily invest points into the Australian Wheel set that increase range damage, that will be wasted once I transform it into a proper character. So currently it's not as good as my archer, like not even close. It's a bit of a bummer, but I really maxed the Magic Find Wheel, and I added a bit of point in intellect just for the extra damage. But as I reach the slightly more expensive wheels, I'm not sure what I will do. My guess is that I will try to purchase just a few bonuses here and there just to get better damage, but I'm quite happy with the current situation. I mean, it's not a walking simulator, but the mage is way faster than this, like there is no comparison. But it's still reasonably fast. It doesn't take too long to get a full backpack of stuff. And essentially, as soon as I find the tier 6 Astral Sword, I will stop doing this unless they release another must-have weapon, melee weapon. But maybe by the time I will have already respect this character into a proper melee character, and hopefully that will be good enough for farming. And actually, there is a very good chance that using the Warrior as a melee with the Whirlwind and other melee skills will be more than good enough for farming. But I'm really not familiar with this class, and all my gear is great for mage, so here I am, playing a Warrior as a mage. And apart from the dreadful betrayal of my frog pet, there has not been much going on during the weekend. Weekend is when I'm very busy with my family, and I have little time to play, so when you see new videos of mine uploaded on the weekend, they're scheduled. It's not live gameplay, unfortunately. I would be very happy to have hours of spare time during weekends to play games, which is what I used to do a few years ago, but now no can do. Life goes on. Life goes on. But, oh, what a mess. The game lags a lot every night. Essentially, no matter how many changes there are in my life, there are two things that never change. Music and video games. Like, no matter what happens, I will spend an unreasonable amount of money in music equipment, like headphones, IEMs, players, what's the name of the other thing? Power. Wow, I completely forgot the name of the thing that is next to me on the table. What? The amplifier. Sorry for the noise. I just grabbed the amplifier to look for what it was in English, and then I put it back on the table and it made a bit of noise. And that's because I just listen to music all the time. And not necessarily what is called critical listening, when you do nothing but listen to music, but just as a constant background to my life. It's an endless soundtrack to what I do during the day. Be it on the bus, walking around, cooking, eating. I just enjoy having music playing in the background. And the other thing that never changes for me are video games. I started playing video games when I was probably 4 or 5 years old in the arcades. And now we are more than 30 years later. Arcades almost no longer exist, but I'm still playing video games as a pastime. And I just find them a fantastic pastime. Because there are some pastimes that are a bit too passive for my taste. Like, I like watching movies, reading books, doing a lot of enjoying a lot of multimedia content, but video games have an active component in them, and I find it very compelling. In recent years, the fact that a lot of games added RNG to them, like I often mention roguelike games, but even this kind of hack and slash game where you'll never know what kind of loot you will get and how good it will be and all this sort of stuff, adds replayability. So it's not like the games of old, but you finish it, oh, it's done, and if you replay it, it will be the same experience again, unless you decide to do things in a different way, which is maybe not ideal. But video games, very nice entertainment form. Some people consider it an art form, and I don't really disagree with that. Some games are trash, and I wouldn't consider it art, but there is definitely art behind some games. Not just the visuals, like that's art. The drawings, either two-dimensional or three-dimensional, but the design of the game itself, I would consider it art. Yes. Whoa. This warrior has been getting so many drops during my farming sessions. I really hope I will manage to drop the Astral Sword at tier 6 live, while not really live, but while recording. I would be so happy. But so far, most of my best drops were dropped offline, apart from one Dragon Slayer bow. So who knows what will happen? Who knows? This farming session will have to be relatively short due to impending real life occurrences like family dinner, and being the one who often has to prepare the family dinner means that I have some preparation to do in advance. Grinding, a bit of grinding each day is good. We must never let down the RNG gods. We have to let them know that we're here, that we trust them, we believe in them, and eventually we will be rewarded. This would be an amazing moment to drop the Astral Sword right after my RNG gods speech, but no, that's not how RNG gods operate. It would be too easy, way too easy. Another real-life update, which may make you happy. Let's go back to recycle some trash. Which will make you happy if you actually watch the videos and not just listen to my rambling around. Is that I will be getting a new phone very soon. I pre-ordered the new Zenfone 7, and when I asked the Asus staff, so when it will arrive, his answer was, I don't know, which was not very reassuring, but I mean, it was the official store from Asus, so I need to believe them. I don't know when I will have it. And yeah, hopefully it will be a huge improvement. What is this? A huge improvement when I play. I think this one I will keep it, the roll looks decent. And it should remove many of those lag issues and give an overall smoother experience. Tier 6 Demon Bone, huh? Let's have a look. Wow, my bank is so full. It's completely full. What the... Do I have any space on the other character? You know what? You go to hell. You go to hell as well. It will turn out that with a new patch that is coming out soon, the Arachnid set is the best in the game because the bleed damage one-shots everything. Look, I don't care. I'm done with that thing taking up space in my bank. I believe I will quickly run through this floor and then call it a day for this relatively quick grinding session and update about the ultimate betrayal of my frog pet. So yeah, hopefully the new phone will give me an overall smoother experience while playing. And I've seen many people playing with higher end phone than mine, and the game looks pretty good. Like, it looks really nice. Here I need to keep the graphics almost at the minimum, and yeah, it's not as beautiful. And considering that the game can look good, I'm really looking forward to play on higher settings. When I was fiddling around in the bank, you may have missed that I now have 7 golden keys. 7 is supposed to be a lucky number, so I might make a video about those 7 keys. And fun fact, in the video where I explain my strategy for grinding golden keys, I said there is no way I will get one live during the recording, right? I will get them right after I finish. And it happened. I got 2 golden keys within the next 20 minutes of farming with that strategy. Unfortunately, I can no longer do that strategy due to my pet selling my 10 divine topaz gems and recycling greed and the demonic Sanidia, but eventually I will do it again. The problem is that the devs on Facebook, and not on the official forum, only on Facebook, they keep hinting about an expansion that looks like it will include multiplayer. I have no idea how multiplayer will work in this game. I don't see it working in the current state of the game, which means I expect new content to be released, and if I release new content, it will probably be better than the current content. So I think I will hold on to my current gear for a while, keep grinding, keep looking for useful stuff, but I will wait to do any extra crafting or tinkering or infusing until we see new things on the horizon. I will make a prediction. I may be completely wrong. But regarding multiplayer, I believe that it will be very difficult to rearrange the game in order to have proper multiplayer with several characters fighting all together at the same time on screen, because that would require a huge overhaul of the whole game. You would need either a clan system or friend system or lobby system, and I don't know how the game engine would handle 4 characters making a mess on screen all at the same time, and the balance to me looks a bit off. But there are many online games, especially for mobile game, where the multiplayer component is not exactly multiplayer but is more cooperative, which means there is an event, there is a boss. Everyone in the world has to fight that boss. You fight it, you deal whatever amount of damage you can do to it. If at the end of the event the boss has received enough damage and died, all the participants get a reward, and you get a reward based on how much you contributed. So if you need to deal, I don't know, 1000 billion damage to get max reward, once you reach that amount, you get it. Maybe the next tier is 500 million billion damage, and then a lower tier, lower tier, lower tier, and lower tier. Even low level players will get a reward, and high level players will get a better reward. It will still feel cooperative and multiplayer, and it will allow the devs to include new events, timed events, new gear, a lot of cool stuff. So that one is my guess for the multiplayer. I would prefer proper multiplayer, but it would require so many changes in the game that I would be shocked and pleasantly surprised if that was the case. I still have not read anything regarding the timing, so we will see when it happens, and when it does, I will definitely be playing some multiplayer game, no matter whether if it's proper or just cooperative. Anyway, I left my character here chilling out for a while, so Sir Grindelot will be checking out. I wish you all a happy grinding, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.